So I thought I would share my little bag of tricks here. As a tea leaf reader, whenever I set up for tea leaf reading, I always have my little kit here with me. And I wanted to share what I use as a tea leaf reader. Before I used to read tarot, and then I found tea leaf reading. That's a whole story in itself. But for quite some time, I was just using the tea leaves and the teacups and tea, and that was it. And I could have a full reading with a teacup. And that's still the case, but I have enhanced my readings with some of these extra tools. So let's get to it. First off, when I set up for the day, I set up a little stack of three-card reading with my tarot cards. So they are the Tarot of the Witch's Garden. It's by Sasha Graham, art by Nataza Ilinsik. I'm probably butchering her name, so my apologies on that. So this is a beautiful deck here. This is the box that it came in, and it's very, I find it a very feminine-based deck, and it is basically based on the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, and that's why I really like it. It has beautiful imagery that connects with me, especially as a feminine person, and I do find that the imagery means something to me, and that's important. As an artist, the visuals really have to connect, and that's why I'm a tea leaf reader. I work in symbols, and that's what I look for in these cards. A lot of the same meanings as the Rider-Waite deck, but with a lot of great imagery that I understand. So you'll see even the Fool, she is a feminine figure with a lot of the same imagery that you would find in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. So I do love that. Oh, here's a wonderful card too. And you really get a good feeling of what the cards mean. So you don't really have to rely on the book meanings, if you will. So if you're a visual person like me, they really tell a story. Oh, that one's upside down. Let me just pull that out. I love this one too. There are lots of crone images in here, which I really appreciate as a woman getting older myself. Okay, so that's one thing I do before I do a day of tea leaf readings. I pull out 3 cards and I just ask the universe, my spirit guides, what have you, to provide a 3-card reading for anyone who would need it, or maybe perhaps it'll go along with my tea leaf reading. And sometimes I don't even read the cards for someone who it may not connect with, but they're always off to the side. So the next thing that I make sure that I do is pull, I feel like Mr. Dress Up. That's Canadian. I'm Canadian, by the way. Mr. Dress Up would have a tickle trunk with lots of different things that he'd pull out, and little costumes and things like that. But here's my tickle trunk. I'm aging myself. So the next thing I do is I pull out the crystals that I always have beside me. I have this little tiny crocheted basket that I made that I put in, and I honestly can't even tell you what the crystals are and their meanings anymore. I'm really not good at that. I rely on the crystal experts and what feels good when I go into the shop. I read at Witch Chest in Ottawa, and they have a great selection of different crystals, and there are always papers that go along with them. When I took the witchcraft class at Witch Chest, we had this one night where we could pick out our own crystals, and basically you close your eyes and you put your hand over the whole, every single little box of crystals, and rely on your intuition and the feeling that you get in your hands from whatever your hand's hovering over, and then that's how you pick a crystal. So that was really interesting, but I really have to get better with remembering what they do, because, you know, if anyone asked me about crystal meanings, I wouldn't be able to help them. The one thing that I do know about crystals is selenite. And this selenite stick, if you will, cleanses my decks between readings. I do have a selenite, you can see behind me, it's a selenite lamp, and it's really pretty too. And I love it. I bought it off of someone at a psychic fair where I used to read tea leaves. And it's a great cleansing light for my room here. So I always have this. I put it on my decks after each reading. Okay, what else do I have? Oh yeah, I have these in my little, I have all my decks and stuff in these little textile bags that I made with little drawstrings on them. But in this particular bag are my Lenormand decks. So I have more than these two, but I generally don't have a lot of room to bring with me. This is my this is my original deck that I found with Lenormand, and I love them. They are, you know, Lenormand is from the 1700s, and this deck really shows that. The imagery, the images are very traditional looking. I love the artwork on them. I'll see if I can find, okay, there's the ship. So here's the gentleman. These decks are, these older decks maybe, are non-diverse. So that's the one drawback. You know, there's only one man, one woman, and a child. And those are the people cards in the Lenormand deck. They're also, in this deck, they are white people. So a white woman, a white man, and a white child. Now, some of the other decks that are newer, they've come out with an option. You know, there may be an extra gentleman and lady card with different skin colors, but also they may have an extra man and an extra woman. So I think that's really important. But I do find that very hard when I'm in a reading, because let's say if someone with a different skin color comes in, I'm not going to say, oh, can you hold on 1 second, and then like sort through and just define the different people. I find that people are very open and receptive when I use these older decks, because they are so meaningful. They do work very well. The readings are incredible. And so as long as I explain the deck to people, I do feel like there's an understanding. Okay, so I just thought I'd mention that is one drawback of these Lenormand decks from some time ago. This is the Grand Tableau Lenormand Oracle cards. I got them on Amazon for like 20 something dollars, so very inexpensive, and you can, you know, buy local if you can, but you can find them there. The other deck that I just have been using lately, because I really like it, is the Bluebird Lenormand. I know I'm pronouncing Lenormand not well either. It's Madame Lenormand, and that who the deck is based off of, a reader from many years ago, again the 1700s as far as I know, and they have called the deck Lenormand. Some people call them the Lennies, if you'd like to give it a short form. So I really like this Bluebird deck because it's got everything you need in it. It's got the image, it's got the card that it's related to, so you can do some numerology with the deck. Same thing with the previous deck that I showed you. But this one has this extra little poem on it. So when someone's really attracted to a card in my spread, I will pick it up, even if I don't read it. I typically do a full 36 card reading, which is called a grand tableau. As we saw in the other deck, it's even named Grand Tableau. But I lay them all out on my mat, which I can show you. And sometimes I don't read all the cards because they're just not, it's not necessary to read every single card in a reading. But if someone is attracted to a card, if they said, "What's that? What's that?" Then I would pick it up and explain what the meanings could be, and to see if they have any, something meaningful for them. And then I may even read this little poem, and that might add an extra layer to the Lenormand reading. Okay, so let me see if I can find the gentleman here. Same thing with the people cards here. There's just one man and one woman in this deck. Let me see. There she is. She's very pretty. But you can see it is very non-diverse again. And there's another example. There's the lilies card. And again, it's got the poem with it as well. This card for me is feminine wisdom, although it is related to the male card here. So that's interesting. Okay, so those are the two Lenormand decks that I bring with me lately, but I do have others. And, oh, the latest thing, this is what keeps me going, is always finding new ways to enjoy. Sorry, I've got the window open. It's snowing outside here. We're getting another 5 to 10 centimeters today. It just started and it's very cold. I think it's like minus 10 with the wind chill, minus 17. And I just went for a walk. I actually picked up a chai latte. And but I have my window open because it is so hot in here. So you can probably hear the noise from outside. So sorry, got distracted, which I always do, but this is my new thing. And as I was saying, I always like to have something new that can keep me excited. If I ever stop getting excited about readings and doing readings for people, then I know I need to stop. If I ever stop getting surprised and excited from like the serendipity of it all and how amazing these cards work and tea leaf symbols work and the connection and the mediumship that I do through this, then I know I need to stop doing it, because it's pretty amazing. Like I realize sometimes how crazy it is what I do for a living. I used to be in management, I used to be in the corporate world and the artwork world too, which I still am, so that's very creative. But this really is my deep love. So, connecting with spirit is really what keeps me going, and I hope that it always does. And so, not surprising, I always get sort of these little gentle universal nudges like, hey, try this out. And so, charms. Long story short, right? I've been going on and on about telling you what's interesting for me and not telling you. But charm casting is what I've added to my readings. So I can add them to my tea leaf readings and to my Lenormand readings. In fact, some of my symbols are very much related to Lenormand cards. So in my 36 cards, I'll give you some examples here. I'm going to put on my glasses because some of my charms are really small. So let me just dump some out here. I'll show you a whole bunch. So in Lenormand, we have specific symbols and their meanings. One of them would be the tree. So I have a tree charm. So if I throw it, cast it onto my mat with my Grand Tableau spread, it depends where it lands. You know, if it lands on a certain card, let's say if this landed on the child, or the stork, it could mean that your family tree is growing. So that kind of thing. So predictions of possible additions to the family. There are other meanings for this as well. So it's not only one thing and then that's it. You know, for example, this can also mean health. So it's a tree and it shows growth and health. Oh, I just found another tree. Okay, so I've got a couple of tree symbols in my charm bag. In Lenormand, there's also a ring. So a ring, of course, can mean commitment, even marriage. So I have a little ring here. So that isn't part of the typical charms that I bought, but I've gone through my own collection of stuff. You know, over the years, everyone always finds a whole bunch of stuff. You may even have junk drawers. Go through those to find your charms. Okay, so back to Lenormand. My daughter is an artist herself, and she, for fun, created this little dog. It was our old dog, Chloe, and so sweet, a little Cocker Spaniel. And she whittled this sweet little dog. So I have Chloe in my bag, and Chloe represents the dog card in Lenormand. So what does a dog mean for you? For me, and typically in the books that you would find on Lenormand, it means loyalty. So that loyal dog, but it can have a whole bunch of other meanings. Okay. One thing that, so I have 133 charms in my collection, and I need more. Okay, so it's just that simple. I need more. I need to complete my Lenormand collection, but for now I'm sort of making do, if you will. Really hard by, right? Hard done by, I should say. But here's my tower. So in Lenormand, there's a tower card, and by no means is it the same thing as a tarot tower card. Not at all. It's quite different. The tower doesn't mean your life is falling apart in Lenormand. It can mean an institution. It can mean like the structure. It can mean, for me, it's educational institutions. So if it's beside the book, I know that someone is going to, let's say, university and studying. It can also mean a government institution. So someone may work in the government. If it's beside the letter, then I know that perhaps they're getting a new job, and it could be in the government or in a large corporation. Typically for me, it's like an institution, a larger institution. Okay, so that's one example. I have a couple of different birds. So, because there's a bird's card in Lenormand, which can mean anxiety. It can mean stress. It can mean the chatter that's flying around your head, you know, showing that you've got a lot going on around your head. So there are a couple of samples of bird charms that I have. Okay, so that's quite interesting. There's another bird. Actually, this is an old Pandora charm that I have from my Pandora bracelet that I never wear. So I've thrown in a few of those as well. Okay, so other cards like the rider. Here I have a horse, but it doesn't have the rider on it, but I would typically use this as my rider. You know, I may do a video. Let me know if you're interested. I could do a whole video on Lenormand versus charms and how I use them. I could continue with this if you're interested. I know today I'm just babbling. It's because there's a snowstorm and now I'm cozy inside. Okay. Here's a little book that I have. It's really sweet. So I made these little dolls. I'm an artist too, and I make little dolls and little tiny things. I've always loved little tiny things. And I remember buying these little books. I think it was at Michael's, and so they go along with my little dolls and things like that. Okay. So the book can be, if it's by the tower, as I mentioned, it could be that someone is going to school and they're studying. I have a whole bunch of tarot charms as well. These are very tiny. I can hardly read the writing on them. So at some point I may have to get some bigger tarot charms. I bought these off of Amazon, and I thought I would get the whole 22 major arcana. It only came with 20, so I'm missing 2. So I don't know why they would be missing the 2. I think it's the Hierophant and one other card, the Empress. So strange that those 2 were missing. But I do throw these as well. I cast them as well on my Lenormand cards. Here's another Lenormand symbol, the anchor. So you can probably tell what that's related to, you know, being anchored, being grounded. It can mean a whole bunch of different things, but that's the gist of it. There's my little clover. The clover is the second card in the Lenormand deck. So that means good luck, success. I have a couple of acorns, which aren't in Lenormand, but here's one that I made with clay with a real acorn top years ago as a little craft project. And then this one is a little charm from a whole bunch of charms that I bought, and I thought that was really sweet. And for me, this is planting the seeds. The other day when I had a reading, this landed on the tree card. So that's just an extra layer to know you're on the right path. Plant those seeds for that tree to grow. Okay. For all the angel people, I'm not really an angel person myself because I didn't really grow up with religion and learning about angels, so I don't have a big connection, but a lot of my clients do. And so they have more meaning to this. So even if something doesn't have a real grip on me, it may for my clients, and it tends to always have that. If I'm doing a tea leaf reading, I may get an initial, like an M, you know, and beside an angel, and that could represent Archangel Michael. Okay, so that's quite meaningful. I have a little bit of money. In my Lenormand deck, the fish means money, but I have a couple of different things. Oh, that's actually a subway token from Toronto, so I'll just put that down, but I even have a penny to represent money. The other day I was doing a reading on love. Valentine's Day is coming up this week, and I'm trying to find the charm, but I have a deer and I have a buck and a doe. Basically, I have the big buck here, and of course I can't find the doe while I'm sorting through them here, but I had the buck and the doe land on the heart. Okay, so that's like love, male and female, if you will. Okay, or feminine, masculine, if you will. I've got a whole bunch of other things here, so I could go on and on. 2 more that I'll show you. One that's really special to me is my husband's cufflink from when we got married. So this, for me, is a symbol of a wedding or a celebration, a commitment, a true commitment. I have a one dice here, one die, I guess you'd call it. And this is really helpful. I've found this to be really helpful when I cast whatever number comes up. It can be quite meaningful as well if you're into numerology. And I just know a little bit about it, so that kind of helps me with my reading. Okay, so that's my other thing that I wanted to show you is my charms that I put in my bag. So funny, I'm a tea leaf reader, and I have to bring my teacups, my tea, my saucers, and you know, all that comes with tea leaf reading. But I also bring these other things too: tarot cards, Lenormand cards, and now charms. So pretty much you get a full service reading with doing all these, and they're just very helpful. I find them very interesting too, for people, especially if they're visual people like me. They can take pictures of the reading afterwards, and so they can remember where things landed and how to read them. So I always like to offer that too. Make sure you take pictures if you're interested. A lot of people do take pictures of their teacups too, you know, and I get them to take 4 different pictures so they can turn their cup around and take images, take pictures. When I do Zoom readings, I do that for the person I've read for. I actually take the photos and I mark up the cup with my scribbles. Hopefully people can read them, but I mark up all the symbols that I read during the reading and point to them so they can have that to remember the reading by, and go back to it if they want. So all that I just wanted to show you, and I hope you've gotten something out of it. Let me know if you're interested in more videos like this, or if you want some lessons. I haven't, you know, I haven't quite done that with my videos, and I'm just starting this up again. So I just wanted to see if there's any interest in that, because I know there's a lot out there as well. Okay, so have a wonderful day. All the best to you, and stay warm. Okay, thanks. Bye-bye.